My objective in this session is to explain the purpose of a listening campaign, what a listening campaign is, and some practical tips on planning and accomplishing a successful listening session. I'll give you a few examples of styles of campaigns that have been tested and proven to be effective. At the core, a listening campaign aims to collect information and insights through a purposeful and focused conversation. These are different from your everyday conversations you'd have with maybe coworkers or family members. For most of you, your target audience will likely be pastors, marriage leaders, and small group leaders. The primary goal of a listening campaign is to develop a deep understanding of the people involved and their hopes for the future. Through this conversation, you're able to identify a shared purpose and common issues. However, we also understand that every church and community is different. So we also listen for what is unique to that specific community. We can accomplish this by the simple act of listening. And that simple act will promote a sense of connection and trust. I once heard a quote I've always loved: "Trust is the currency of the work." This listening process is critical to creating a marriage movement that truly reflects what the couples and families in your community need and want. Remember, you are there to listen. Your aim is to ensure everyone has an equal standing in these conversations and feels valued and heard. For example, you might have a lot more experience with marriage ministry than the group or person you're meeting with. But the purpose of this session is to listen to their needs and discover where they are coming from. Now, let's talk about how it works. I'm going to give you 4 steps on how you will typically set these conversations up and how they will work. First, you need to set the stage. Timing is everything. You want to be aware of the availability of the pastors and church staff. I was part of a pastoral staff for over 20 years, and certain days worked best for the staff to meet with others. Mondays are not the greatest for the most part. They may have the day off, or they are recovering from Sunday. Wednesday, they may have a midweek service to prepare for. Tuesdays and Thursdays are more than likely going to be your best opportunity to meet with staff. As far as Friday goes, most staff are off that day. You want to find a time that works best with their schedule. Just keep in mind, they have a lot on their plate, and you want to honor that and meet with them at their best. You also want to choose a comfortable location where everyone feels at ease. This could be their church, local coffee shop, restaurant, or even someone's home. If you happen to be meeting with a group and not a one-on-one, if possible, invite a diverse group of individuals representing the churches and community and those interested in strengthening marriages in your target area. This diversity ensures a wide range of perspectives and experiences, which will be beneficial as the group begins to plan next steps. And if you're in a group setting, you'll want to set ground rules for respectful and open communication. Emphasize that everyone's voice is valuable and should be heard without interruption or judgment. Okay, our second step is structure of the conversation. You want to start with introductions and icebreakers to help participants get to know each other and feel more comfortable sharing. For example, they would give their name, what church or organization they represent, their position, and what they do at their organization. You can ask an icebreaker question to help get to know each person better. For example, what's one interesting fact about yourself that most people don't know? This helps everyone to ease into the conversation. As you enter the conversation, encourage participants to speak. Make sure that no single person dominates the time. We've all been there before. One powerful way to get a conversation started is by asking a question. You'll want these questions to be open-ended. That way it encourages deeper thinking and sharing. When I share on listening models in a little bit, I'll give you some example questions that can start you off. And all of these questions fit any model presented today. It's important to remember that you are participating in a listening campaign. So, active listening is your most important task. Active listening is the practice of fully concentrating, understanding, responding to, and remembering what someone is saying during a conversation. It involves giving whoever is talking your full attention. If you're in a group session, encourage active listening from all participants, where everyone will reflect on what they hear before responding. This is where setting ground rules in the beginning is very helpful. Use different techniques like paraphrasing and summarizing to ensure they've been understood and show that each person's input is valued. For example, you can say, "What I hear you saying is." Give the speaker your full attention, make eye contact, remove distractions like phones, and focus on what they say. Use body language and gestures to show your engagement. Nod occasionally, smile, and use other positive facial expressions. If you disagree with something they say, don't use a facial expression like rolling your eyes or face palm to convey your thoughts. Make sure your posture is open and inviting. Allow the speaker to finish each point before asking questions or making comments. Be patient and give the speaker time to express their thoughts and feelings fully. Avoid rushing them or finishing their sentences. If something isn't clear, ask questions to gain a better understanding. Can you explain what you mean by? Or what did you mean when you said? At the end of the conversation, summarize what you've heard to confirm your understanding. This can help clarify misunderstandings and ensure that both parties are on the same page. All right, our third step is documenting the conversation. Documentation is an important step to remember. This will help you to reflect back and strategize for the future. It would be ideal to use an audio recorder and record the conversation, but you have to make sure to get permission from everyone involved. If you're unable to do that, maybe you have a partner with you and they can take notes. This will allow you to stay focused on the conversation. At the very least, if you're by yourself, be sure to take notes soon after the meeting. This will help you have a reference to look back on as you plan and strategize next steps. And it would be much appreciated if you would also distribute a conversation summary to all who attended. Our fourth step is the launchpad of sealing the deal. It's the starting point of accomplishing great things for your initiative. Please don't neglect this step. This step is follow-up. Following up after a listening campaign is a crucial step to the success and impact of the campaign. It will demonstrate commitment to the participants. It validates their contributions and helps lay the groundwork for ongoing engagement and improvement. Immediately after the campaign or the session you have, send personalized thank you notes to all participants. Express your genuine appreciation for their time, their insights, and contributions. Your goal in follow-up is to make sure all participants have a sense of co-ownership and shared vision. You do this by involving them in the process of creating an action plan based on the insights and ideas that came from your listening session. Keep the lines of communication open. Plan regular follow-up meetings to track your progress, share updates, and continue the dialogue. And you can also create a feedback loop where participants can provide ongoing input on the actions taken and the overall process. So to recap, those 4 steps are as follows. Set the stage, structure the conversation, document the conversation, and be sure to follow up. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I want to introduce you to a few of my favorite listening methods. You've probably all flipped through a cookbook at least once in your life. Let's say you want to make a meatloaf. You might notice a few different recipes in the book for a meatloaf. Maybe you're courageous and think to yourself that you can take and mix and match ingredients from a few of those recipes to create your own unique version. Well, you could do the same with these methods. Find what fits you, your personality, and what will bring the connection you need with that person or group that you're meeting with. Let's look at 2 of my favorites And then I have a few more that you can Google and check out on your own if you're interested. Also, remember, you can use any of these questions throughout multiple models or use them to create your own model. Okay, the first one is appreciative inquiry. This was developed by David Cooperrider. Appreciative inquiry emphasizes and identifies what is already working well. It is rooted in the belief that movements grow and change in the direction of what they focus on. Appreciative inquiry asks the question, what is possible, not what is wrong? Appreciative inquiry typically follows a 4D cycle: discover, dream, design, deliver. I say typically because I like to start with the 5D, which is define. And define basically asks, what is our topic? What is our goal? What are we after? Then with something we have to aim for, we move into the first one, discover. The goal of this step is to identify what already is great about relationships and marriages in the community and what the church and community are doing to support these relationships. A question you can ask is, can you share a story about a time when you felt most supported in your efforts to strengthen marriages and families, or where your own marriage and family was strengthened? This puts the focus on what has already been working. And the amazing thing is that they feel good about what they did to contribute to that outcome. The second D is dream. The goal of this stage is to envision the best possible future for marriage. We're dreaming about what could be. Questions you can ask are, what would a successful marriage ministry in our community look like? What activities or support would make it exceptional? You could write these down on Post-it notes or a large poster board. And when you're finished dreaming of what you all desire, you begin the next process of the 4D model, which is design. Now, the goal of design is planning how to turn those dreams into reality. You'll begin to brainstorm and design specific programs, events, and activities that will get you started on accomplishing the end result, which is what you defined earlier. Consider questions like, what steps can we take to create the programs we dreamed about? And who can help us make this happen? This step can also be implemented into your follow-up and your feedback loop. The last step is deliver. The goal of delivery is to implement the design into action. A few action items to begin here are to develop a timeline and steps for launching the marriage ministry. You'll want to include short-term and long-term goals. Establish a way to measure success and gather feedback to keep improving. Again, this step can be implemented into your follow-up plan and feedback loop. That's the 4D model of appreciative inquiry. It's all about discovering what's excellent, dreaming about how to make it even better, designing a plan to achieve your dreams, and making it all happen through delivery. The second model is a powerful one and has been proven to be an effective listening campaign model, and it's called humble inquiry. Humble inquiry is a communication approach developed by Edgar Schein. It focuses on building relationships through genuine curiosity and respectful questioning. It's about asking questions that show you value the other person's perspectives and are genuinely interested in their thoughts and feelings. It's the art of asking, not telling. If you've been around for any length of time, you may have heard Carl talk about the 5 questions he's used in listening campaigns. Humble inquiry aims to ask open-ended questions that encourage the other person to share more. Here are the 5 questions that you may have heard Carl mention. Tell me about what you're doing. How is this part of your personal story? What is the one thing you're most excited about? What's a roadblock you face? What can I do to help you take your next step? Now, be sure to show genuine interest by asking follow-up questions like, can you tell me more about that? Or maybe, how did you feel about that? A big part of humble inquiry is to acknowledge that we don't have all the answers and that others have valuable insights. We need to approach these conversations with an open mind, ready to learn from others. That's where the humble part of humble inquiry comes in. We show respect by listening actively and not interrupting. We're using inquiry to cultivate trust and a deeper connection. Humble inquiry is a powerful tool for building strong relationships. Just by asking genuine, respectful questions, you create a positive and inclusive environment where everyone feels heard and respected. That's the end result of listening well. Those are two of my favorite methods, but here are a few more you can research online to see if they work for your needs. One is called Future Search, Peer-to-Peer, and Conversation Cafe. So, to conclude, I cannot overstate the power of listening. It is a fundamental act that encourages connection and understanding, leading to stronger, more resilient marriages in your community. I advise you to implement listening campaigns into your best practices toolbox. As we listen, we gain insights and affirm the worth and dignity of those around us. Thank you for your time.